Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're looking at a 2026 World Cup Group E match that, honestly, on the surface, looks like your standard blowout. But if you look a little closer, it actually hides two absolutely incredible stories. We're talking about Germany versus Curaçao, which went down at Houston Stadium on June 14th, 2026. This wasn't just 90 minutes of football, it was a collision of entirely different worlds. A massive redemption mission on one side, and a total dream debut on the other.
And that scoreline right there perfectly captures what happens when those worlds collide. 7-1, I mean, it immediately jumps out at you, doesn't it? On one hand, it's a Giants' fierce, undeniable return to form, right? A totally ruthless statement from a four-time world champion. But on the other hand, buried right there in that single one is a tiny island nation's unforgettable, historic moment of glory. It's a bittersweet debut for the underdog, but an absolute masterclass from the favorite. Let's break down how this whole dynamic played out. So, setting the stage, this was the ultimate mismatch, a true David versus Goliath scenario. Picture this. You've got over 68,000 fans packed into Houston Stadium, and the vast majority of them are just roaring for the German machine. The atmosphere is electric. But the contrast between these two nations walking out of the tunnel, it literally couldn't be more stark. Curaçao has a population of just 160,000. That makes them officially the smallest nation to ever appear at a FIFA World Cup. To put that into perspective, their entire country has a smaller population than a lot of mid-sized cities. They were stepping onto the sport's absolute biggest stage against a true footballing juggernaut.
And, if the population difference wasn't wild enough, just look at the dugouts. This match featured the largest age gap between coaches in World Cup history. You've got Curaçao's manager, Dick Advocaat, who at 78 became the oldest coach ever at a World Cup. Standing across from him, Germany's Julian Nagelsmann, who at 38 is the youngest coach at this tournament. That is a staggering 40-year age gap. Deep veteran wisdom going head-to-head with cutting-edge, youthful tactical innovation. Well, when the whistle blew, that tactical innovation took hold fast. In just the 6th minute, Germany set the tone. Florian Wirtz played an absolutely brilliant pass into Felix Nmecha, who brought it down and struck a superb first-time finish right into the far corner. It was clinical. It combined technical quality with this aggressive attacking intent that made everyone watching think, okay, yeah, this is going to be a completely dominant sweep for the Germans.
But then we get a historic equalizer. Curaçao actually strikes back.
Because, hold on a second. We all know football isn't played on paper, right? The massive underdog wasn't just there for the vibes. As the clock ticked toward the 21st minute, you could feel this real suspense building in the stadium. Germany was pressing hard, sure, but Curaçao was showing incredible, brave resistance. The question hanging in the hot Texas air was simply, could the smallest nation at the tournament actually strike back against one of the sport's greatest heavyweights? Could the tiny blue wave respond? Yes, they absolutely could. In what felt like the moment the whole football world stopped, Livano Comenencia fired home Curaçao's first ever World Cup goal in the 21st minute, making it 1-1. The small but insanely passionate pocket of Blue Wave supporters went into total rapture. I mean, for a brief, beautiful moment in time, the smallest country in World Cup history was standing toe-to-toe with the German giants. Whatever happened after that, that single goal is a moment of pure magic that will be celebrated on the island forever.
Of course, that magic didn't last forever. The German machine awakens.
Now, what's really interesting here is the shift in momentum. That equalizer didn't deter Germany. It totally woke them up. You have to remember what's fueling this team. This is a massive redemption mission. Germany suffered deeply painful consecutive group stage exits in 2018 and 2022. For a nation that won the whole thing as recently as 2014, those failures were just unacceptable. Stung by that history, and frankly probably a little irritated by the Curaçao equalizer, Germany completely shifted gears. They were on a ruthless mission to prove to the world that they are genuine title contenders. And what followed was just a suffocating, relentless wave of German attacks. Let's run through this rapid-fire onslaught. 38th minute, Nico Schlotterbeck heads home to restore the lead. Right before the half at 45+5, Kai Havertz converts a penalty from all that sustained pressure, 3-1. 2 minutes into the second half, Jamal Musiala kills the match with a fourth. By the 68th minute, substitute Brown scores the fifth off an assist from Deniz Undav. Undav then grabs his own in the 78th. And finally, 88th minute, Havertz finishes off a flowing move to get his brace. 7 goals with 7 different players either scoring or assisting. It was actually their biggest World Cup win since an 8-0 victory over Saudi Arabia way back in 2002. And amidst all that attacking firepower, there's another really compelling subplot to Germany's resurgence, the return of Manuel Neuer.
The legendary 40-year-old goalkeeper actually came out of international retirement after almost 2 years away, specifically for this World Cup. Now, thanks to his team completely dominating possession, he literally only had to make a single save in this entire match. But just having his veteran presence back out there on the pitch, that's a massive boost for Germany's defensive confidence going forward. The tactical reality of this match is pretty staggering when you look at the numbers. 12 shots on target for Germany compared to just 2 for Curaçao. Germany was incredibly organized in defense, super creative in attack, and their clinical pressing just completely overwhelmed the debutants once that equalizer went in. Curaçao put up a brave fight, but they simply ran out of steam, and the data perfectly illustrates how Germany just squeezed the life out of the game.
So, looking ahead, let's talk about the Group E implications.
What does this actually mean for the rest of the tournament? If we ground the emotion in the raw data and check the Group E standings, Germany takes an immediate, commanding lead with 3 points. But honestly, more importantly, they secure a massive +6 goal differential right out of the gate. As we all know, in tournament football, goal difference is a totally critical tiebreaker. Germany has basically handed themselves a huge early advantage over Ivory Coast and Ecuador before those two have even touched the pitch. But Julian Nagelsmann's squad definitely can't afford to take their foot off the gas. Next up for them is a much tougher test on June 20th in Toronto against Ivory Coast. This is a team with some serious quality baked into their squad. I mean, they recently defeated France 2-1 in a World Cup warm-up match. So Ivory Coast is absolutely not going to roll over, and they're going to test this German machine in ways that Curaçao just couldn't.
As for Curaçao, they're facing another enormous challenge against Ecuador on June 25th in Kansas City. They're sitting at the bottom of the group with 0 points and that rough -6 goal differential. But you know what? They achieved exactly what they came to do. They proved they belong on the same pitch as the Giants. And they're going to carry the pure, unadulterated joy of Comenecia's historic goal into every single remaining match they play.
Which brings us to our final thought. We just watched a tiny nation etch their name into the history books. But we also saw a fallen giant rise back up with terrifying efficiency. So I leave you with this question. Is this 7-1 statement the spark that's going to finally ignite Germany's 5th World Cup title run? They've got the depth, the youth, the veteran experience, and clearly a massive hunger for redemption. Group E is just getting started, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how it unfolds. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on this fascinating tournament.